Hello, class. The topic that I chose to discuss on discrimination speech was anti-homosexuality and discrimination of that. And so, basically, to encompass the whole LGBT community, I felt was necessary because basically that is infringing on an individual's sexual orientation. And when you discriminate on any of those groups, you're infringing on that. And there's no federal law to protect an individual's sexual orientation. So this is a big issue, and I think that needs to get addressed federally for it to really hold ground. So I found a couple websites. This first one was civilrights.org, and it said that sexual orientation is a clear, persistent desire for a person to affiliate with one sex rather than the other. And basically, a lot of crucial things have happened recently, but earlier in the 90s, 1992, when Bill Clinton was president, there was a ban on gays in the military, and he thought that it would be a good idea to abolish this ban. So he brought it up with the military, and he said, I want to get rid of this, and they basically came up with a compromise, and they said, okay, we'll enact a don't ask, don't tell policy. And so basically what this is as long as you don't say what you're doing, as long as we can't tell what you're doing, we're not going to ask, don't tell, and it's not a big deal. So before, you couldn't be in the military if you were that way, and if you were gay or lesbian, and if they caught you, then you would be dishonorably discharged. So now that's not the case. And along with that policy, or compromising on that policy, Bill Clinton also adopted a couple different policies that banned all discrimination in the workplace because of sexual orientation. Now that was pretty big, and also along with that, he banned discrimination because of sexual orientation for federally funded educational programs, and he also granted asylum for other gay and lesbian men and women from other countries that were facing persecution by their country's laws because of their choices, their sexual orientation. So I found this one Supreme Court case that kind of stuck out to me was the Boy Scouts of America versus Dale, and it was in 2002, and the judge basically stated that the Boy Scouts of America's freedom of speech would have been violated if they couldn't dismiss a gay scout master because of his sexual orientation. So that kind of goes against the discrimination of an individual's sexual orientation, but I guess because it was infringing on the freedom of speech, the judges found in the Supreme Court case that they kind of ruled against it. And like I said, I found that on civilrights.org, and then I went over to NOLO.com, NOLO.com, and it kind of just laid out the basic federal laws and state laws that kind of go along with the protection of an individual sexual orientation. And there's no federal laws that really protect an individual's sexual orientation besides this one that Clinton adopted in the workplace. And that's just for the private sector. And so at a state level, there are some laws that are both private and public sector, and they cover about 10 to 20 states. So we've adopted a good amount of state laws that have encompassed all of protecting all of the individual's sexual orientation's rights. And some of those states are Colorado, California, Hawaii, Maine, just to say a few. And even if at the state level, if your state hasn't enacted a policy, there's even sometimes city or county ordinances that you can be possibly protected. And then there's, assault, abuse, harassment. There's even those legal terms that, there's a lot of different ways that stuff can fit under different things. So I found that on NOLO.com. And in the last article that I went and saw and researched about was one on Huffington Post, and it had a lot of interesting facts. And one of the things that I saw was it had a lot of the recent wins for the LGBT community. And those would be the striking down of the sodomy laws, which basically said that intercourse for homosexuals was illegal. And so they struck that down, or the Supreme Court. And then they also struck down Section 3 of, I don't know what it's directly called, I think it's the marriage doctrine or something, but it basically stated that marriage was only between a male and a female. And so they struck that down, and now it's not considered just strictly between a male and a female. So those are some recent wins. And also to go along with that, same-sex marriage has been legally recognized by the federal government since 2013. So that's about 3 years ago, recent win. And also the most recent was the adoption for lesbian and gay parents is now legal in all 50 states since 2016. So just this year, that's the most recent win, and the state was Mississippi. That was the last one to be enacted policy there. So that's a good step towards the future, and that's a good step forward for the LGBT rights and for that community. So have a good day, and thank you.